So this is a event data collection by me, Kevin Helton. And who was playing was North Laurel Middle School against South Laurel Middle School. And they're both two teams that's in London, Kentucky. And it's a big rivalry game between the middle schools. And it happened on September 15th of 2016. Now I got to say that when I was taking these surveys out to everyone, there was actually 3 people who actually refused to take the survey. One felt like I was bothering them while they were trying to, get into the game, watch the game, and everything like that. And then one, when I asked why they didn't, have a desire to take it, they implied that there was some kind of conspiracy theory involved in why I wanted to take their information. I tried to explain that it was just for a school project, and they weren't having it. And then another individual just showed little to no interest and said that he would not answer it correctly anyways. So I was a little shocked by that initially when I was first trying to do my surveys. But after I was able to actually get my surveys put out there to 10 individuals, some of the results came back are, why are you attending the event? I've decided to use pie charts throughout my presentation here because it's so easier for me to look at pie charts and see. But if you can tell, like 50% of the personnel, their children were actually playing football, and then 10% they was cheering for the team. 10%, they had a child in the band, and then the 30% or other, there was a sibling, a grandparent, stuff like that. So the easiest route for me was pie charts, so we're going to use pie charts throughout the entire presentation. When asked on how you would rate your stadium, you can see that 60% actually fell into that number 4 mark, while 20% had it in that purple. And then moving on, I asked how they would rate the concessions, and not as great of a lot of people told me that the concessions are overpriced and everything, which are typical at games and even at the middle school level. But as you can see off the chart here, 40% hitting that middle ground, that level 3 ground there, 30% hitting that lower level, the blue, the 2, and then you have the 10% across the yellow, purple, and yellow, green, and red there, which is your 1, 2, and 5s. Moving on to the rating the parking availability, this was very, very almost unanimous, it seemed like, with 60% labeling it a number 2, 20% going with the yellow at 1, and then 20% going with the 2, excuse me, let me back up there. The 60% went with the number 2 level, with 20% going with the 3, and then 20% going with the number 1, telling me that most of the people have a pretty big problem with the parking availability, and I guess they would need to expand on the parking of some sort. At a middle school level, you're probably not going to see that happen so much. Now, if this was a amateur league or a professional team, they would actually spend the money after looking at this and saying that they would definitely expand the parking just so they could expand profits as well. With the overall experience, once I asked people to actually elaborate on their answer, most people told me that no matter what, the parking, the cost of the concessions, anything like that, just sitting there and watching their child, their grandchild, their brother, their sister out there, whatever it is, that is the reason why they're there. And as you can tell, that's why you have such a high number at 70% that rated a 5 overall experience. At the middle school level, I can only imagine that number would stay the same 15 years down the road, even if someone conducted the exact same survey. When asked what the likelihood to continue coming to the games were, the answer was, as long as my child is still participating, I'm going to still keep coming. So that, as you can see again, 70% with that 1, they're more than likely coming to the game. They're going to be there. 20%, in the 2 level, and then 3 So as long as their child's there playing, participating, they're going to be there. They're going to be there at the games. Moving on in the demographics with the male and females, it's a pretty even 60-40 split here with the females taking a slight edge. When getting to the age, the ages was almost kind of a little bit all over the place, but for the main part, it was really my lower to upper 30s, which I realized that from my surveys that's really where your middle school aged parents are really falling in line at. So as you can see, I do have 10% there in the 13 to 17. That was a sibling of a player. So the income level for most of your small towns and stuff like that, typically not very high. So as you can see from my chart here, the income level looks like the highest part, 40% of it is between that 40,000 and 50,000 mark. So we do fall in that small town area, so we don't have much of a income in this area. You also have the next highest is the 20%, looking from the 30 to the 40,000. For me to just reflect on this survey and the process of everything going on, I was shocked that some actually wouldn't participate, even when I let them know that, listen, this is for a school project. I was there were still some that was just very unwilling. So that one kind of took me off guard. But for the most part, it wasn't easy to gather the information. The hardest thing was that I've never done a survey before, so it was hard to kind of go in there and just kind of you know feel out the people to take it serious as I would in a job setting, but and let them see that it was for a school project. Um, there was some people that was just uneasy about it when you came to like the income questions and the age, as if it's like, I don't know why this matters. So those were some hurdles I had to overcome. If I had to change anything, I would have gotten off work sooner just so I could have got to the game sooner. When I was actually able to arrive, the game had already started, so I was having to ask these parents and fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever was there, if they would take my survey, take a quick survey, so I could find out why they attended the game and everything. And I believe that that's the reason why some would not participate as well, is that if they felt as if it was troublesome or bothersome to them. And these are my references I use for the pictures, and I do thank you for your time and watching this video. Thank you so very much.